Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something, well, pretty much everyone struggles with at some point. Procrastination. The common wisdom is always, oh, it's just bad planning, or maybe you're not disciplined enough. Just get a better app, right?
Well, or just try harder.
Exactly. But we've been looking at the research, and it turns out that's likely, well, wrong.
Yeah, that's the big shift in understanding this. Procrastination, fundamentally, it's not about managing time. It's about managing emotions.
Emotion management, okay.
And that changes everything. So our mission here is to quickly unpack the evidence for that, and then more importantly, pull out strategies you can actually use. One's focused on mood, not the clock.
Makes sense.
So maybe let's start with a solid definition. Dr. Fushia Seria defines it as the unnecessary and voluntary delay of an important task, even when you know there will be negative consequences.
So you know it's bad for you, but you do it anyway.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Acting against your own better judgment. And it's really common, maybe 20% of adults, and get this, up to half of college students deal with this chronically.
Half. Wow. Okay, so where did this emotion idea really come from? You mentioned some core research.
Yes, there's this really fascinating experiment from the 90s. Diane Tice and her colleagues at Case Western Reserve University. They basically set up this clever scenario to poke at people's feelings and see how it affected their choices.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What did they do?
All right, so they brought in students, told them they were prepping for a tough multiplication test, something measuring, cognitive skill. They had 15 minutes to practice.
Standard psych experiment set up so far.
Right. But here's the twist. They could choose to practice, or they could use distractions instead. And the researchers manipulated a few key things.
Ah, okay. Like what?
First, mood. They deliberately made some people feel bad, had them read this really heavy story about a fatal car crash involving a child.
Oof. Heavy.
Yeah. Others read a positive, heroic story. So you had a feel-bad group and a feel-good group.
Got it. What else?
Second, they played with whether people thought they could change their mood. They lit this purple floral-scented candle for some participants.
A purple candle.
Yeah, aromatherapy. And they told them the scent would kind of freeze whatever mood they were in. So if you felt bad, you were stuck feeling bad.
Okay.
Others were told, nope, moods are changeable. You can feel better if you try.
And the third thing?
The distractions. Some rooms had genuinely tempting stuff, video games, popular magazines, things students might actually want to do. Other rooms had the lamest distractions possible. Think like yellowed technical journals from 1975 or toddler puzzles with pieces missing.
Okay, so bad mood versus good mood, frozen mood versus changeable mood, and good distractions versus terrible ones.
Exactly. And the big question was, which group avoided the math practice the most? Who procrastinated?
So if it was just about avoiding hard math, everyone should have delayed roughly the same amount, right? Especially those who felt bad, maybe?
You'd think so. But the results were really specific. The people who procrastinated the most were the ones who, 1, felt bad.
Okay.
2, believed their mood was changeable, it wasn't frozen by the candle.
Interesting.
And 3, had those tempting distractions easily available.
Wait, so feeling bad wasn't enough. Believing you could stop feeling bad by doing something else. That was key.
That's the absolute crucial finding. It shows the drive behind procrastination is this urge for immediate mood repair. You're not really dodging the math test itself. You're dodging the awful feeling, the stress, the inadequacy that the math test triggers.
So if you felt bad but thought your mood was frozen anyway,
then distracting yourself seemed pointless. Might as well just do the math practice, right? But if you felt bad and saw an easy escape route like a video game that could make you feel better right now, that's when the procrastination really kicked in.
Okay. So it's a coping mechanism, but it sounds like a double whammy.
It really is. You get 1, the immediate relief of avoiding the task that makes you feel bad, which, let's face it, takes a lot of self-control to push through when you're feeling down.
Yeah.
And 2, you immediately swap it for something easy and rewarding, scrolling your phone, baking cookies. One source even mentioned doing your taxes to avoid writing a tricky evaluation.
Doing taxes as a reward, that's something.
It shows how much we want that quick mood fix.
Yeah.
But the problem is this kind of coping, it doesn't work long-term. Brain imaging studies actually link chronic procrastination to less activity in brain areas that help regulate emotion effectively.
So it's like the strategy backfires.
Completely. You delay, you might feel a tiny bit better for a minute, but then the guilt and pressure creep in, you feel
Yeah.
worse later, and those original bad feelings often come back stronger. It just sets you up to delay again next time.
And I guess this is even worse for tasks where you feel judged, like submitting work or something.
Exactly. Anything involving potential criticism, grading, reviews, sharing creative work that anticipated sting makes us pile on even more negative feelings. Which brings us to what we can call the procrastination parfait layers.
The procrastination parfait. Okay, I'm listening. What are the layers? We have the task itself making us feel bad at the bottom.
Right. That's the base, layer one on top,
Oh.
unrealistic standards, expecting perfection from the get-go, like thinking your first draft has to be the final draft.
Oh, yeah, been there. Any tiny flaw feels like total failure.
Which triggers the need for mood repair. And that leads straight into layer two. Fear of failure. This could be fear of the outcome, like the grade won't be good enough,
Yeah.
or fear of the process, like that example of Peter who avoided speaking in meetings, not because he feared saying the wrong thing, but because he feared feeling stressed while saying it. Feeling stressed itself felt like failing.
That's subtle. And you mentioned low expectations can be just as bad.
Yeah, the case of Noah. For him, tasks felt easy, so the thought of failing them was devastating. It wasn't about the task. It was about what failure would say about his fundamental competence, so he avoided simple things.
Okay, so unrealistic standards, fear of failure. What's next in this parfait of doom?
Layer three gets meta. Procrastination-related self-criticism. It's that voice in your head going, ugh, why can't I just start? I'm so lazy.
Right, feeling bad about feeling bad.
Exactly. Which just heaps on more guilt and shame, making you feel worse and needing even more mood repair. It's a vicious cycle.
And the final layer.
Just general, deep self-criticism, calling yourself stupid, incompetent, fundamentally flawed. That negativity bleeds into everything.
Wow. That sounds paralyzing, like the example of Antonio, the first-gen college student.
Precisely. He had intense imposter syndrome, huge pressure not to fail his family, terrified the university would realize its mistake.
So the pressure created.
Unrealistic standards, definitely. He expected himself to feel calm, confident, brilliant the moment he opened his laptop. When he didn't, because who does, his general self-criticism kicked in. See? You don't belong here.
Leading to...
Total paralysis. He'd escaped to TikTok for just a minute to feel better, delay, then frantically write papers at the last minute, feel awful about the quality, and criticize himself even more. The whole parfait, layer by layer.
Okay, so Antonio's story really drives it home. Just telling someone like him or anyone deep in that cycle to just get started is, well, it's not helpful.
It completely misses the emotional core of the problem.
So if it's about emotion, what does help? You mentioned 4 strategies.
Right. 4 research-backed ways to handle the emotional side so the delay doesn't take over.
Okay, strategy 1.
Get started, and your mood will catch up. This flips the script. The goal isn't to feel good before you start. It's about starting while you feel bad.
How? That sounds hard.
It involves acceptance, like mindfulness. Instead of fighting the anxiety or overwhelm, you just notice it. Observe it, almost like watching a movie. Ah, there's that feeling of inadequacy again.
Just naming it.
Naming it, acknowledging it, without judgment. Research shows that simply labeling an emotion can actually dial down its intensity, just enough to create a little space.
Space to do what?
Space to take one tiny action. Open the file. Read the first sentence. Pick up the pen. You do it while feeling anxious or stupid. You accept the feeling is there, but it doesn't have to dictate your actions.
Okay, acceptance. What's strategy 2?
Peel a banana.
Peel banana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds silly, but it represents breaking the task down into ridiculously small steps. Steps so small there's basically zero resistance.
So instead of write the report, it's open the document.
Even smaller if you need. Turn on the computer, find the file, type the title. If you feel any internal friction, the step isn't small enough.
Like the person whose first step for a workout was literally peeling the banana they planned to eat.
Exactly. It's about lowering the activation energy to almost zero. That tiny first step, no matter how small, gives you a little jolt of accomplishment, a mastery experience.
And that makes the next tiny step easier.
Right. It pumps a little air into that flat tire of feeling bad, just enough to maybe get rolling. But the step has to be related to the actual task, not just,
Making another cup of coffee. Guilty.
We've all been there. But yeah, pick the title, not check email.
Okay. Acceptance, tiny steps. Strategy 3.
Forgive yourself for procrastinating. This taps directly into the mood repair need. If procrastination is a way to feel better now, self-forgiveness does the same thing, but constructively.
How does that work?
There was a study by Dr. Timothy Peichel. He found students who forgave themselves for procrastinating on their first exam actually procrastinated less on the next one
Why?
because the self-forgiveness reduced the negative feelings, the guilt, the shame. It reported their mood without needing the distraction or delay. It broke the cycle.
That sounds great, but really hard for people who are already self-critical, like Antonio. Forgiving himself might feel like giving up or being weak.
Totally. For people like that, it's not about suddenly becoming super self-compassionate overnight. It might just be about less self-criticism. Shifting from "I'm so lazy" to something more neutral, like, okay, I put that off, I must have been feeling overwhelmed.
Just acknowledging the feeling behind it.
Yeah, or even just, oh, well, separating the behavior, delaying, from your identity, being a lazy person. That little bit of grace can be enough to lessen the emotional burden for next time.
Jace, I like that. Okay, final strategy, number 4.
Connect with your future self. This one comes from neuroscience findings that procrastinators often see their future selves as, well, basically strangers.
Strange.
Yeah, almost like a different person. Someone else who will magically have more motivation and energy tomorrow to deal with the stuff we put off today.
So we dump the hard work on this idealized future stranger.
Pretty much. It makes it easier to delay now because the consequences feel distant, like they're happening to someone else.
So how do you connect?
There's this intervention using mental imagery. You vividly picture your future self, say, at the end of the semester, but from an outside perspective. Like you're looking at them.
What details?
Sensory stuff. What are they wearing? What does their desk look like? Is the textbook marked up or still shrink-wrapped? Are they stressed? Relieved?
The goal isn't just to imagine success.
No, it's to build empathy. To make that future self feel real, tangible, like you. When you feel that connection, it's harder to burden them with the negative consequences of your delay today. You start to care about their well-being.
Because their well-being is your well-being.
Exactly. It closes that psychological distance.
Okay, so recapping the big picture, procrastination isn't about laziness or poor planning. It's a stress response, an attempt to manage difficult emotions right now, even if it costs us later.
That's the core lesson. And the solutions, therefore, have to address the emotion. Either accept the bad feelings and take tiny actions anyway, or manage the feelings more directly through things like self-forgiveness and connecting with your future self.
So a final thought for everyone listening. The research suggests procrastination might be significantly heritable, maybe around 46%.
Yeah, there seems to be a genetic component for some people.
So if this tendency is partly baked into your wiring, maybe fighting it head-on with sheer willpower isn't the only way, or even the best way. Perhaps the most effective form of resistance isn't more discipline, but more self-kindness. What small act of emotional grace could you practice today when you feel that urge to delay? Even just thinking the word grace.
Something to definitely consider.